Alright, so the preseason games are done for day one, so we have some stuff to talk about. I wanted to just go through some games. I obviously have more to say than others, but I'm probably just gonna go in order from least to say to most. And I mean, sorry, Knicks and Pistons fans, but, you know. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys already know, but let's go to Atlanta first, because I feel like a lot of what happened in that game, like, they looked really good, first of all, and they didn't even play everybody, but I don't think Atlanta played everybody either. Yeah, so Atlanta rested Al-Farouq Aminu, Mo Bamba, James Ennis III, Jonathan Isaac, and Terrence Ross, so that's a lot of key pieces, but Atlanta rested Chris Dunn, Onyeka Okongwu, Rajon Rondo, and Tony Snell. So those are some key bench guys that they're going to be using over the season, especially Chris Dunn and Rondo. But as far as the guys that were actually in the rotation, Atlanta was specifically what I wanted to talk about because DeAndre Hunter looked really good from the highlights, because I couldn't watch the full game. I wasn't able to. But from the highlights, I can see that DeAndre Hunter was really good. But let's see here. 5 for 10, 18 points in 26 minutes. Nobody played. He actually played the most time out of anybody in the game, 26 minutes, which is expected. Trae Young, I mean, he didn't have a good game, but what do you expect? It's the first preseason game. 2 for 9, 6 turnovers. But I think the guy to look for here would be Bogdanović, because, I mean, if he is able to shoot as well as he did last season, which last season he shot 37% from 3, like, that's really all that they need in order to make a really significant push in the Eastern Conference, because the Eastern Conference, you really only have to worry about, I'd say for Atlanta, you really only have to worry about Milwaukee, obviously, Miami, Washington, Toronto, maybe Indiana, Boston, Philly, Brooklyn. Like, you have to worry about a decent amount of teams, but it's not as much as the Western Conference. And so I think that it would be easier to pick them for having a playoff spot, just given the roster that they have right now. Because, I mean, obviously it's going to take that time for everyone to, you know, be on the same page, but once they're at that point, they're gonna be, they're gonna be pretty tough. Especially if they play Rondo and Chris Dunn the next game. Like, that will be, like, the really good chance to see what they can actually do. But that's really all I have to say about them, because they didn't really show me anything that I didn't already anticipate. So, moving on, let's talk about Houston, because they sat James Harden and they basically just had John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins running the show. And so John Wall, I will say I was wrong about John Wall. He does not look like he's been missing for 2 years. I mean, he literally just picked up right where he left off. So he had 13 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists, and 2 steals, and he shot 6 for 10 from the field. I mean, like, that's really all you need out of him, considering the circumstances. I mean, once James Harden is able to be back with the team, then it would be different. But in terms of right now, that's really what you can expect out of him. And especially DeMarcus Cousins. I tweeted this during the game. I literally said he does not look like DeMarcus Cousins at all. Like, this dude has lost so much weight. Like, he literally doesn't even look like the same player. And so that kind of threw me off the first time I, like, tuned into the game, because I tuned in, like, halfway through the first quarter or something like that. So I was like, wait, who is that? And I was like, oh, 15, it's DeMarcus Cousins. And so, yeah, I think that he's gonna be really good for them, especially now having, like, a legitimate center. But I'm pretty sure that's, like, their only reliable size on the team right now. I mean, they have DeMarcus Cousins, but they really don't have, like, another legitimate 5. So that's gonna be something to think about going into next season. But I mean, it's better than having no centers at all. So that's a step up from last season, I feel like. And also, they didn't play PJ Tucker either, so there's that. But it's also Chicago, so I mean, but they shot actually really well from the field. They shot 46% on their threes. They hit 24 of them, which is kind of crazy. I didn't even realize that until now. They took 52, but they made 24. And then they shot 44% from the field overall. So, from what I could see from the game, it looked like they weren't just playing 5 out like they were last season, because, I mean, they have other options now, but they are still taking a ridiculous amount of threes. So I'm not sure how much of their playstyle has actually changed, but they definitely did take 2-point shots more often than you would see from them last season. By the way, if it sounds like I can't talk, it's because I can't. I'm tired, but I'm recording this. So let's move on to the LA game. I mean, on one hand, you can't take the Clippers losing this game as some huge thing that needs to be, like, looked at because, I mean, it's preseason and Kawhi played 14 minutes and Paul George played 14 minutes. So, I mean, like, what are we talking about here? So I feel like this game was more so just depth versus depth because, I mean, the Stars played, but they didn't play as much. They played a little over a quarter. I mean, so you can't really do anything with that. But and you also have the fact that LeBron and Anthony Davis didn't play. So, I mean, this isn't really, like, actually a lot of people from the Lakers didn't even play. They only played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys. So they sat KCP, Anthony Davis, Jared Dudley, Marc Gasol, LeBron, Alfonso McKinney, and Markieff Morris. Like, those are a lot of guys that are gonna be in the rotation when the season starts. So, I mean, you could look at it from that perspective, like, they sat that many guys and they still won. But at the same time, Kawhi and Paul George played 14 minutes. So one thing that I will say is that Patrick Beverley is, I don't know. I still don't know how to feel about him. The Clippers need like a legitimate playmaker at that position for their starting lineup because that's going to open up their offense and really, I guess the word would be unlock their offense. But yeah, but I feel like that's what they need because right now their playmaker would really be Kawhi and Paul George, which we saw how that turned out last year. But which is what I wanted to say is that they do look like they're playing slightly different from last season. And that they're not running like a stupid simple offense that's like ridiculously easy to figure out and game plan for. But at the same time, it's the first preseason game. And so, yeah, that's really what I had to say about that. But I just don't get the Laker fans that are like freaking out over this win because, I mean, it's preseason. All right, so enough about them. Let's talk about Dennis Schroeder and Montrezl Harrell. So Montrezl Harrell played 31 minutes. He scored 13 points, 12 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And he looked like it was a playoff game. Like, that's how intense he was playing. Yeah, I think that this game showed that they're really gonna be a problem in terms of just straight up depth, because when you look at the guys that they have Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, they have Wesley Matthews, Dennis Schroeder, Alex Caruso, Quinn Cook. Like, these are like the guys that they played today are all guys that are going to be coming off the bench in the season. And so when you look at it like that, that's going to be really insane for them, because really the only person that you could kind of see starting is Kuzma. And even then, he came off the bench in games last season, so you have to think about that too. But that's really... man. They have a... Remember when LeBron said, we got a squad now? This is actually that squad. This is it. So, I mean, like I said before, we got to see what we already know. Let's talk about Portland now, because one thing that I will say is that Melo, he came off the bench, which that's like the big decision for Portland coming into this season. They're going to have Carmelo coming off the bench, which he said that it took a lot of them to actually convince him and, you know, sell him on the idea, but he's doing it. I think he actually said that Dame, Terry Stotts, CJ, and a couple other guys actually had to talk to him about it before he actually made the decision. But in terms of its effectiveness, he scored 21 points on 62% shooting, 8 for 13 from the field. Like, if he keeps that up all season, then Portland's going to be in a really good position when playoff time comes, because when you look at just the amount of looks that he was getting with the lineups that were on the floor with him, like, he's going to be a problem coming off the bench. I mean, this is one of the best scorers that we've seen in the last decade, so it would make sense that that would be a threat. Let's see, Gary Trent Jr. had 18 points, 6 for 13 from the field. He looked like he was getting his looks too. A lot more than last season, I would say. Especially, like, I think the whole Portland team was just getting a lot of looks, because they shot 17 for 34 from the 3. They shot 50% from 3, and they shot 51% from the field. I mean, they were also playing Sacramento. Sacramento took 50 threes. Why did they take 53s? Buddy Hield shot 11, he made 5. De'Aaron Fox shot 7, he made 1. Okay, that... I don't understand that, but... So, Dame, he's Dame. He pulled up from 30 in the first quarter and made it like it was nothing. Like, he's gonna be him. CJ is gonna be himself too. He shot 7 for 16. But yeah, especially considering Nurkic didn't play and they had Enes Kanter at center. Once they have Nurkic at center in their starting lineup, that's going to be really good for them. And that's why, honestly, if they play their cards right, I feel like they can be top 4 in the West because they have a lot going for them right now. But that was just my thoughts, my scrambled brain, as you can probably tell. Let me know what you guys thought about the games yesterday. Let me know what you guys think about the games that are going to be happening today. We got Charlotte and Toronto, so we get to see LaMelo for the first time. We got Indiana. We got OKC and San Antonio, which, We got Dallas and Milwaukee, which should be fairly interesting if Luka and Giannis play, which, I mean, who knows if they will. We got Memphis and Minnesota. We got Denver and Golden State, which I am looking forward to, seeing Stephen Curry play basketball after 9 months. And then we got Phoenix and Utah, which should be very, very interesting. So, let me know what you guys think about all of those too, if you made it this far. But with all that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you're new, hit the bell to be notified when I upload, comment down below what you want to see next, and as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.